Hi, welcome to today's video, Conscious Relating. So in today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about communication and why we communicate the way that we do and how to change that and shift that so that the other person feels heard, valued and understood, and then we get that in return. So before I start, those of you who don't know me, my name's Dean Powell and I own a company called Life Talk. I have online programs. I specialize in addiction and also in relationships. I've been doing relationships coaching for a number of years. And my favorite thing, guys, is to actually show people that you can rekindle that spark in a relationship. You can get back to how it was in the beginning, where you fucking love each other, fall in love with each other, love being with each other, treat each other as, as your king and your queen, so you always see them in their highest light, and that's the version of them that you end up getting. If we keep undermining our partners and pointing out their flaws, then that's the version we're going to get. That's the version we'll see in our mind. That's the version we have in reality. So far better to have it the other way, yeah? So we see them in their highest light, and then they see themselves in their highest light. That's the version we get. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the brain first, and we're going to look at 3 different parts of the brain, but I want you to understand that there's actually 7 different parts of the brain. Whether you believe in evolution or that we've been created, it doesn't matter. We evolve a new part of the brain. So our brains have evolved new parts over the years. And as we evolve a new part to the brain, the old part doesn't die off and disappear like any other organ in the body. So any other organ in the body, when we create a new cell, the old cell dies off, the new cell takes over the function of the old cell. With the brain, as we develop a new part to the brain, both parts still continue to function. So the old part and the new part of the brain continue to function. This causes problems, and I'll show you why. So the first part of the brain is the oldest part of the brain, which is the brain stem. So your reptilian brain. It's the oldest part of your brain, and it's all about survival. So it's fight, flight, freeze. Basically, it's to protect the living organism. So no matter what happens in our life, we either fight, we fright, or we freeze. And now it has no language. It can't understand anything. It can't feel anything. All it can do is react to whatever stimuli happens outside of us. So whatever the outside stimulus is, it'll react to. That's the brain stem, the reptilian brain. Then we have the limbic system, which is your mammalian brain. And your mammalian brain is also about survival, but it's about emotional survival. So feed me, love me, clothe me, nurture me. So it's about safety, but emotional safety. Now, it has no language outside of itself other than it can only feel in relation to what the brain stem reacts to. So it doesn't have any language outside of that. These 2 parts of the brain are known as the old brain. So combined together, they are known as the old brain. Everything within the old brain, every single experience you've ever had in your whole life is stored within your old brain. So think about that for a second. Not only is every experience stored within your whole brain, every sense of every experience is stored within your whole brain. So the sight, smell, sound, taste, touch, feeling of every single experience you've ever had in your life is stored within your whole brain. Man, that blows my mind, yeah? Think about how many millions and millions of experiences that you've had in your life, and they're all stored within the old brain. Now they know this because they can actually operate on a person and a patient while they're awake. So they can open up the top of the head, they can poke and prod certain parts of the brain while a patient's awake, because the brain doesn't feel pain like the rest of the body. It has a neural system but not a nervous system, so it doesn't feel pain like the rest of the body. So they can poke and prod certain parts of the brain, and when they poke and prod certain parts, the patient will have vivid recollections of things they had no conscious recollection of before. And the other time you'll notice this is sometimes, you'll get triggered by a smell or a sound. Maybe the sound of somebody's voice triggers you, or the smell of somebody's aftershave might trigger somebody who's been through some kind of trauma or abuse in their life. Some loud bang confrontation can trigger certain things within us, and it'll take us straight back to a memory that we didn't necessarily have a conscious memory or recollection of before. A lot of people have this later in life where they'll suddenly experience, oh my God, like a full memory of being sexually abused, although they'd blocked it out for years and years and years. And then sometimes in meditation or breath work or some kind of healing modality, it'll come through and they'll have a vivid recollection of what happened. It's because our brain has the capacity and the capability, we have an intuitive resolution mechanism to switch things off that are too painful, that it doesn't think we can handle. So it'll switch that off. So yeah, the old brain stores absolutely everything that we've ever experienced in our lives. So all kinds of trauma, amazing experiences, sad experiences, painful, traumatic, heartbreaking experience. So everything is stored within the old brain. Then we have the cerebral cortex, which is your human logical mind, yeah, so your intellect. This is the part of us that identifies as I, so the I, who I think I am. Now just think about this for a second. Who I think I am is nothing compared to what anybody else sees me as. So nobody sees me the way I see myself. So there's thousands of different versions out there of me. So how people see me as a you, yeah? So there's thousands of yous out there that people see you in a certain way, but they don't see you as you see yourself. So there's only one, and you don't even know yourself. Like, you can't even see yourself. You don't even know who you are. So there's all these different versions. There's no one version of ourselves. But we identify as I through, you know, we're given a name. We're told we're a son, we're a boy or a girl. We're a son, we're a daughter, you know, we're a brother, we're a sister, we're a mother, we're a father, we're a parent, we're whatever, you know. So we start to wear these labels, or I'm a doctor, or, you know, we start to identify who I am according to what I do. And then we start to wear these labels as jackets, you know. So like, this is who I am. I'm a father, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a whatever, yeah. And then because we start to wear these as jackets, we start to identify ourselves as being this. So maybe you'll meet a doctor at a party, and you introduce yourself, and, you know, like, hi, I'm Dean, who are you? And I say, hi, I'm Dr. Bob, or whatever. And you're like, okay, what makes you a doctor in this moment? Yeah, are you a doctor in this moment, or are you just a person going to a party? So when we start to identify ourselves with our attachments, we start to wear these coats and with these masks almost, and then we start to identify these masks, as these coats, and then we forget to take them off, you know, and then they become smelly, they become who we are, and then we're too scared to take them off, because who am I underneath that? Who am I without that? This was one of the big things for me, like, who am I outside of being a dad? Who am I outside of being a brother? Who am I outside of my relationship? Who am I outside of sex? You know, who am I outside of my work, which I love doing and I'm amazing at and known for, but who am I outside of that? And so it's getting to know, like, peel back these layers of the onion to discover who I am. So this is all the cerebral cortex, yeah? Who am I? Now, it's also about safety, but it's about, if I can understand this, so it's working things out, make sense of this, understand that, I can soothe the old brain, the nervous system, I can soothe, you know, the fight or flight mechanism, and let them understand that we're safe. So it's still about safety, but it's a logical safety. Now, we only share this part of the brain with two other mammals. So we share it with dolphins, who have a much larger cerebral cortex than we do, and we share it with apes, who have a much smaller cerebral cortex than we do. We think we're the intelligent species. My God, they're discovering things about dolphins now where they're realizing they're super intelligent, way more intelligent in terms of communication than human beings. They can communicate through sonar with other dolphins on the other side of the earth, through sonar and through water. It's amazing. So now the problem with these three different parts of the brain is they don't have communication. They don't know how to communicate with each other. And I'll explain why or how that works. So one of my earlier childhood memories, I think I was about 8 years of age, maybe 7, 8 years of age, and I'm walking home from the shop. I'd just been up to the shop to buy bread, milk, butter, and a newspaper. My dad said, can you grab me a newspaper while you're there, yeah? So I'm walking home, I've got this brown paper bag. Again, this whole memory stored within my subconscious, or within my old brain. Walking down the road, it's a beautiful sunny day. I've got a brown paper bag. I've got the milk and bread and butter in this brown paper bag. I'm carrying the rolled up newspaper. It's wrapped in plastic. I'm carrying the newspaper, just walking down the street, minding my own business. On the other side of the road, there's a boxer dog outside the property on the verge. And, you know, boxer's a breed of dog, quite a big dog. Now, we were brought up a dog family. We always had German Shepherds and Alsatians, you know, ex-police dogs. So I was never scared of dogs. And so this dog was outside. And as I walked past, I just said, "G'day, boy." And the dog turned around, ran across the road and bit me and attacked me, like hit me on the leg or bit me on the leg. And I just froze, yeah, so my brainstem froze. And then I whacked it with a newspaper to try and get the dog off. And the dog took off. Now, what do you think my mammalian brain, so what do you think I was feeling then? So my brain stem reacted, so first I froze and then I fought, yeah? What do you think my mammalian brain was feeling in that moment? Definitely shock, definitely feeling scared, definitely feeling vulnerable. I was definitely alone, I was feeling helpless, powerless, I was feeling like nobody was around to help me, so isolated. So all this myriad of feelings that was going on. So then I went home, my parents took me up to the hospital, I had to get stitches and a tetanus shot, and I mean, they were all going, "What did you do to the dog?" And I was like, "I promise I didn't do anything to the dog." And they were like, "Is the dog okay?" And I'm like, "Fuck, what about me?" You know, like, we were a dog family, we didn't want to get the dog put down. So my dad's starting to explain to me, look, maybe the dog's been beaten with a pipe or with a rolled up newspaper. Obviously it's got some kind of trauma and that's why it's, you know, it's freaked out. If you didn't do anything, then the dog's just, you know, had some kind of triggered or traumatized memory. And that made sense to me. So now my intellect is now trying to soothe my nervous system, soothe the trauma, yeah? Obviously the dog's been beaten, obviously it's got its old trauma, you know, like it didn't mean to do it. So I'm soothing my nervous system going, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense, yeah? So intellect is trying to use that understanding to soothe the trauma. And that worked until, what do you think happened the next time I saw a dog? Whether it was a small dog, medium dog, big dog, it didn't matter. Yeah, I would freeze. So then who's really in charge? Who's really in control? And then when I froze, what feelings came up for me, do you think? Exactly the same feelings that I went through when I went through that experience. So I'd feel scared, vulnerable, helpless, powerless, you know, like alone. So all of the same experiences, all the same feelings and emotions came up for me in the same moment. Now, it just proves, like, I mean, who's actually in control? So no matter how much the intellect goes, no, remember the other time, it was just a dog that was beaten with a paper, or, you know, don't worry about it, it's not that. It didn't work. Yeah? That wasn't able to soothe the trauma. So no matter how much we try to justify or rationalize in our mind, use our intellect to rationalize the traumatic experience, the trauma is stored within ourselves, and it can't just rationalize it out, yeah? So think about how many traumas we've had in our lives, guys, in our lives. How many traumas have you experienced in your life? How many rejections? How much abandonment? How much not being heard, not being seen, not being valued, not being understood is stored within our old brain? So much, yeah? So this is why we experience, you know, like people overreacting so often in our lives. So this is why we experience people as weird or different, or, you know, like maybe they're angry, or maybe they're shut down, maybe they're cold, maybe they're reserved, because we have no idea what traumas have triggered that for them and how they then learn to operate in life, because our subconscious will then do everything to protect that trauma. So the subconscious doesn't want us to go through that experience again, so it'll do everything to protect us so that we don't have to go through it anymore, but it doesn't serve us because it's still operating from a place back in childhood. So it's still operating trying to protect this like 7 or 8 year old boy, where I'm an adult now, and this adult can handle the situation in a new situation. But it doesn't go back to, it doesn't experience we don't experience things as new situations. We experience them as we've experienced them before. Make sense? Cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about relationships now. So, and why we end up having, you know, we communicate in our relationships, or we experience our relationships through our own childhood traumas. What do you think is the most important thing in a relationship? I ask this question at many of my talks, and people say things like loyalty, they'll say trust, they'll say, you know, being heard, being valued, being understood. They might say, you know, hearing each other, communication. So for me, I do believe communication is probably one of the most important things in a relationship, because if you lose communication, you lose trust, you lose loyalty, you lose everything else, yeah? But it's not just communication, because you can communicate till you're blue in the face. But I think it's comprehension, so that we actually feel heard and valued and understood is most important. So comprehension is more important than just communication. So I'm going to talk about communication in terms of voids and values. So a void is something that's missing for us in our life, like an emptiness, a void, yeah, a hole. And then a value is something that's important to us. And usually the values that we have in our life, things that we hold as important and that we value, stem from our voids. They stem from things that are missing in our lives. So your voids give way to your values, yeah, or determine your values. And then your values determine your destiny. So what you're here to do in life and what becomes really important to you, you make a goal out of that, or you make a living out of that. So I'll give you an example. Everybody has a different value system, guys, as well. So they're like fingerprints. Your values are completely different than anybody else's values. You have similar values that align, but your value system is different than anyone else's. Even siblings, yeah? Although you have the same experience, you have the same upbringing, the same parents, the same kind of environment growing up, you have completely different values, and you have a different experience of what happened to you as kids, yeah? How many people have heard their siblings talk about their childhood, or they hear you talk about yours, and they go, what, that wasn't my experience? They have a completely different perception of what's happened for them, yeah? It's because we have different value systems. So most police officers, lawyers, judges, people in the legal industry have a perception that either them or somebody around them had a great injustice done to them. So no justice gives way to their value, which is justice. So then justice becomes high in their value system, and that leads to their destiny, so they want to do something about it. So that's their calling, yeah? They say most teachers and counselors, social workers have some perception of abuse or being misunderstood as kids, yeah? No safety when they were at home. So what becomes really important to them is being understood and having safety, safe environment, emotional safety. So that their void gave way to the value, and the value gives way to the destiny. So people in the health health industry, like maybe doctors, nurses, health coaches, fitness instructors, have a perception either them or someone around them was unhealthy, and so their void gives way to the value, which is health, being healthy, being fit, being alive, which gives way to their destiny, helping other people to have the same. So your void determines your value, and then your value determines your destiny. How we relate to the world, is determined by our value system. So we relate to the world, everything externally, we relate according to our value system. Everything outside of us that aligns with our value system, we call it good, and we gravitate toward it. Everything that negates our value system, we gravitate away from it. We call it bad, and we gravitate away from it, or we repel from it. Everything that we do inside that we determine aligns with our value system, we call ourselves good, and we praise ourselves and we feel great about ourselves. But everything we do that goes against our value system, we negate ourselves, we give ourselves a hard time, we beat ourselves up. So our values determine everything in our life. The values are what inspires us to get up in the morning, what motivate us. We're only motivated in terms of our value system, So for me, like growing up, I was in a, like, my father was quite abusive and violent and angry, and it was either his way or the highway. We had to do everything that he said, the way he said it. My rules, my house, my rules. You don't like it, get out. Which is why we kind of left as early as we could. Well, my brother and sister left a lot earlier than I did. But it was like, I felt so suppressed, and I felt so, so unsafe, So what became really important to me, my values became freedom and independence, and then safety and acknowledgement, being heard and being understood, became really important to me, creating safe space. Now, in my relationship with my ex-partner, the mother of my kids, we were together for 18 years. Now, the important thing for her value was family. She didn't have her value wasn't freedom and independence, because she had her family separated when she was young. So because she had a broken family, what became really important to her was her family staying together. So family became really important to her. And then everything to do with family, like nurturing, safety, creating a home and environment and all of that. So when we would go out, we go to a shopping centre, she would see everything in terms of her value system, and I would see everything in terms of my value system. So I'd see things like, motorbikes and cars, and be like, oh my God, I could jump on this bike and take off and go and have a really good ride. I mean, I always had motorbikes anyway, and I used to love riding because it was just the sense of freedom that I had. I would see, we'd go to a shopping centre and I'd see little, ideas for businesses. Oh my God, we could set up a little shop here, we could do that. So for me, it was freedom and independence, also was financial freedom, So I would see things like business and freedom and independence, and, in creating a safe space or acknowledgement, whereas my partner would see things through family. So she'd be looking at kids' clothes or things for the house and the home. She'd be like, honey, come and have a look at this. Now, I had an attention deficit disorder in terms of her value system, because they weren't my values. I couldn't wait to get out of my family home, because I felt so stuck there and suppressed there, and everything I had to do was with the family. So I've got an attention deficit disorder in terms of her value system. She's got an attention deficit disorder in terms of my value system, because she doesn't want to be free, she wants to be together, So the more I try to talk to her in terms of my values, she felt repulsed by my values. And the more I tried to talk to her in terms of she tried to talk to me in terms of her values, I wanted to get away from her. So we've got these two value systems that aren't communicating, that aren't understanding or comprehending each other. So the more we try to communicate to the world through our own value system, the less we feel heard and valued and understood, because they can't hear it, because people hear through their own value system. I'll explain how this works, basically. So we've got a woman and a man, and I'm going to generalize here, guys, because it's like, we all have specific values that are important to us, but we also have some generalized ones. What do you think are some values that men have? Some of the values men have. So for me, definitely what's important, like going to the gym. So looking good, working out, exercising is really important. You see, I'm all sweaty now, I just got back from the gym. So exercising is really, really important for me. Also going out with the guys. So this has changed for me a little bit now. It used to be going out partying or going out drinking with the boys and, sports and different events. Whereas now, I run men's circles. So having guys in my life now is more of a connecting, a deeper level. We don't talk about sports or drink. We talk about feelings and emotions and what's coming up. We talk about our struggles in life and relationships, or being a crap dad or whatever that's going on for us. We talk about real stuff. So being with the guys is a different experience for me now, but really, really important experience, because I grew up my whole life only having females around me. So important for me now to be able to connect with men. My only perception of men was I was scared of men because of my dad. Yeah, so I grew up with this perception of no very healthy male role models. And most men talk to me about this in men's circles. They'll say, you know, my perception of men is they're going to hurt me, they're going to steal my woman, or they're going to steal my money. And what a sad perception of men that is, you know. So going out with the guys is really important. Also, like I said, freedom and independence is important. Freedom and independence. And then also, for me, look, providing was really important. So providing for my family. This is a big one for a lot of guys. A lot of guys try to prove their love or show their love by providing for their family. We're taught, you know, it's up to the man. We've got to be strong. We've got to work everything out ourselves. We've got to protect. We've got to look after our family. We've got to look after our own, you know. So we're taught to provide and show love by providing. But that's not what our partners and our kids want. They want us. They want our time. So when things aren't working at home, for me especially, when it wasn't working at home, I'd go out and provide more. I'd go and earn more. I'd work more. Now, the truth is, it's what it also gave me at work. I had a sense of self at work. I had a sense of accomplishment at work. I felt successful. I felt really good at what I did. You know, I'm amazing at my job. Whatever job I do, I can learn that, and all the other jobs around me, I'm very, very good at work. So I had a sense of safety, a sense of self at work. So when things weren't working at home and I didn't know how to deal with that, the emotional stuff, then I'd just go to work and I'd work more, come home, bring more money, because I thought that's what they wanted. But they didn't. They wanted me. They wanted my time. They wanted my energy. They wanted me to fucking be there with them, yeah? So this is one of the biggest mistakes a lot of guys make, is they try to show love by providing. So going to the gym, guys, freedom and independence. What about hanging out with the guys? What else is another good one for men? So maybe, I think, gym, guys, freedom and independence. What are some other values for men? So things that are important. Well, sex, yeah? Sex is really important for men. Now, mostly because men need to make love to feel loved. So women need to feel loved to make love. So this discrepancy happens quite often. Men need to make love to feel loved, yeah? That's how we feel love, is by making love, by that connection, by that intimacy. Women need the intimacy first. They need to feel safe. They need to feel loved before they can make love. So sex is really important. So it's not necessarily just about these values, but it's what it gives us, yeah? It's what they do for us. So sex makes me feel safe. It makes me feel connected. It makes me feel seen. It makes me feel valued. It makes me, you know, I get attention. I feel sexy. I feel desired. I feel wanted. I feel needed, all of that. So what are some values for women? Let's start. Let me just pull this over a little bit. Okay, so one of the first ones is shopping. Now, not for all women, yeah, but for a lot of women, I know shopping is really important. Again, not just shopping, but it's about the sense of freedom that they get from shopping, from looking around, being able to pick things for the home or for their partners, or, you know, or to buy new clothes and to feel sexy about themselves, you know, to look good for whoever, for their partners, or to, you know, to feel beautiful, like to have the hair done, to get the nails done. So grooming is also really important, yeah. Again, like I said, I'm just generalizing here, but it's for a lot of women, you know, this is a common thing. I've done lots and lots of workshops, and these are the common ones most people will talk about. So shopping, grooming, going out with the girls is also really important. And also family is really important for a lot of women, you know. So being with family, seeing their family, staying connected as a family, going out with the girls, making sure they have girl time, talk. Because women are amazing at talking to their girlfriends about their problems. They talk about everything, yeah. Whereas guys are taught the opposite. We can't talk about anything emotional. We can't talk about what's really going on in our life. And the danger there is that puts a lot of pressure on our partners. So because women know that we're struggling, they know their men are struggling, and they know their men aren't talking to anybody. This is why I run men's circles. It's so important, because it takes the pressure off the relationship. So she's got her own problems going on, and then she also knows that her partner's struggling, and he's not talking to anybody about it. He's not going to get help. He's struggling, and he puts her under this cone of silence. You're not allowed to tell anybody what I just told you. So she's got her own stuff going on. She's got his struggles going on, and now she's not allowed to talk about it. So this is why it's so important for us guys to learn how to communicate, to open up, to talk, to be vulnerable, to be emotional, to share outside of the relationship what's going on for us, so we don't bring that and burden our partners with that as well, and family. So grooming, going out with the girls, family, and also, yeah, so looking good, yeah? Again, generalizing, but a common one for a lot of women. So now here's what happens, yeah? We have these values. These are the things that we love. These are the things that get us up in the morning. These are the things that inspire us to live our lives. The things we love about ourselves and the things we love about life. So we meet each other, we get into this relationship, we connect. Oh my God, I'm so turned on by this person, I'm in love and they're amazing. Now we spend all this time when we first meet, oh my God, we do everything, we date, we court, we fucking do everything we can to impress this person so that they love us, yeah? And then as soon as we determine that we like each other or that we're in a connection, a relationship, guess what happens? The first thing comes up is, oh my God, what if I can, oh my God, I'm scared I'm going to lose them. And then all of our insecurities come up, our vulnerabilities come up. And then all of the things that we loved about them in the beginning become the things we hate about them in the end. So they become the things that annoy us or that we are repulsed by, or that we resent. And I'll explain why in a moment. So we get together. We spend the first 3 months in bed, yeah? So the first thing we do is we stop going out with all the boys. I left my eraser somewhere. I lost my eraser. I'll use my fingers. So the first thing we do is we stop going out with the guys. So going out with the guys becomes a void because we want to spend all our time with our partner, yeah? We stop going to the gym because she's like, honey, you don't have to go to the gym. You look amazing. You look sexy. Don't go to the gym. Spend time with me. So he goes, going to the gym, relationship, going to the gym. I think I'll choose a relationship because I love the relationship. Going out with the boys, spending time with this beautiful woman. Going out with the boys, I think I'll stay with this beautiful woman, yeah? This is a challenging one for me. So leaving, I've got this beautiful, amazing, gorgeous Brazilian girlfriend who, you know, I get up in the morning and I leave this gorgeous naked woman in my bed to go to the gym and I'm like, what am I doing? Crazy. How can I leave this to go to the gym? But I know it's important because going to the gym is a value of mine, yeah? So, but a lot of the time what we do is we just go, no, I'd rather spend time with this person. So going to the gym becomes a void. Freedom and independence goes out the window a little bit too. Now, especially once we get into a relationship. So maybe like providing was the other one I was going to say. I didn't write down. Providing is important. So freedom and independence. Once we've been in a relationship together for a while, and you know, like we kind of start to lose our freedom and independence. Now, it's a choice that we make. Yeah. So what we do is we stop doing the things that we love, and we spend all our time because we want to spend our time with this person. We choose the relationship over everything else. But then what happens, and I talk to couples about this all the time, or they talk to me about not feeling like they have space, and they don't want to take space because they don't want to hurt their partner, and they, you know, like they don't want their partner to think that they don't want to be around them, or that they don't want to spend time with them. So what happens is we start to lose our freedom and independence in a relationship. And also, another way that happens is when our insecurities and our vulnerabilities come up. So once we're in a relationship, you know, like if a guy's really insecure, oh, I don't want you going out, you know, with those guys, or I don't have men in your life, I don't trust you with your ex, you know, so trust issues become a problem. So then that takes away her freedom and independence to do what she wants and be with who she wants and have who she wants to have a relationship or a connection with, yeah? Also, after a while, you know, we start to see each other. We don't dress up for each other anymore. You know, we just walk around the house in our tracky dacks or in our undies or naked even, and we forget to make the effort. When we go out, we just go out in our casual clothes. So we see each other every day. It becomes this normal thing. And then suddenly, if she's going to go out with the girls and she starts to get all dolled up and dressed up and she wears makeup and she's looking really hot, and he's going, fuck, hang on, she doesn't do that for me anymore. Where are you going, honey? What's going on? And she goes, just going out with the girls. Well, where are you going? I'm going to a nightclub. Well, why are you getting so hotted up? And so his insecurities, his vulnerabilities start to come up, yeah? Are there going to be guys there? Of course there's going to be guys there. It's a nightclub. Well, yeah, I don't know. Who are you going with, yeah? And she's like, oh, I'm going out with the girls. I'm going out with, you know, like Susan and you know, Barbara and all my usual girlfriends. And he's like, oh my God, you know, like I know what they're like. These girls drink wildly. They get fucking wild and they party. And I even know that some of them are quite flirtatious, or maybe they fucking sleep around. And so his vulnerabilities and insecurities come up. I don't like you hanging out with those girls, babe. I don't like you going out with these girls. I want you to stay home with me. Come on, I'll take you out. So she goes, well, you know, relationship, going out with the girls, relationship, going out with the girls. Look, I'll stay with him. Yeah, I don't want to go out with the girls. So that becomes, going out with the girls becomes a void. Now, for him, the freedom and independence as well. So suddenly he's not only losing his freedom and independence, he's getting her to lose her freedom and independence. So she suddenly doesn't feel free and independent. So freedom and independence become a void for her, yeah? As well as trust, because he doesn't trust her anymore. So the trust has gone out of the relationship. So she feels like she can't have her own, like make her own choices and her own decisions. So her independence goes, trust goes, loyalty goes. So once, once you've been together and, like you're working together and you're working toward common goals, you start to pull your money together, and he's working and she's going off shopping, and he goes, honey, I'm working my ass off to pay these bills, and you're off shopping and spending the money, and I'm trying to provide for my family, but I can't do that if you're going to keep spending the money. Or she wants to buy new things, get a new house, new clothes, whatever, new furniture. And he's like, honey, I'm fucking working my ass off. So he feels pressure to earn more money or to provide as much as he can. She wants to fucking obviously improve the home. And she's also thinking about a future and wanting to have kids, or if you haven't got kids already. So even if you have kids, the first thing that goes out the window is sex, because everything becomes about the child. The child turns your world upside down, yeah? Everything's about the child. So sex goes out the window. Also, if you start to fight, you have any problems, then sex kind of gets switched off. And also another dynamic that happens in relationships is as soon as you start to lose this freedom and independence and the trust, then you start to create this mother-son dynamic. So he starts to feel mothered by her, or expect to be mothered. Maybe she starts to cook for him and clean for him and starts to do things and nurture him and look after him in a mothering way. As soon as that happens, you create a mother-son dynamic. The first thing that goes out the window is sex, because who wants to subconsciously sleep with their mum? It's the same when he becomes her dad, she sees him as a dad, because we all pick our parents in some shape or form, yeah? So if she sees him in any way like her dad, then the first thing that goes out is sex, because she doesn't want to sleep with her dad, she wants to sleep with a man, she wants to sleep with her partner, with her king, yeah? So the first thing that goes out the window is sex. So then sex becomes a void. And if it's used as a manipulation tool, if it's used as a, hey, I'm shitty with you, you're not getting any tonight, then suddenly that becomes this manipulation tool as well, and then that gets taken out. It becomes a void, not a value anymore. So providing, yeah, so she's like, honey, stop working so much. I remember this in my relationship where I was providing and I was working so much because that's how I showed my family love, was to provide for them. And she was like, don't stop working every weekend, or, can you spend some time with us? And so I was like, providing relationship. I choose the relationship because I know there's love here and I know I want to have a good relationship. So providing became a void for me, yeah? So, and then what am I left with here is a big empty heart. So nothing, all the things that I used to love to live for that I don't have anymore. So there's a big void. That's what I'm left with, yeah? There's a big void. She does the same. So with the shopping, when he's like, honey, you're going out, you're spending money all the time, stop shopping, stop blowing our money. So shopping becomes a void for her. Also grooming, yeah? He's like, honey, didn't you just get your nails done, your hair done? Well, didn't you just get that done last week? And again, it's not about just the shopping or the getting the nails done. It's about how it makes her feel. She feels amazing. She feels sexy. She feels desirable. She feels wanted. She feels fucking needed, or all of that stuff. She feels beautiful, yeah? So we're taking all that away from her. So shopping becomes a void. Grooming. She's not going out with the girls anymore. So family, yeah? So for me in my relationship, we'd go and see her family all the time. My family were actually weren't living in Australia. Her family were in Australia, mine were in New Zealand. So for her, going to see her family is really important, because like I said, family was important to her, it was her value. And then after a while, I'm like, you know what, I don't want to fucking be around your family anymore. Like I know your mum's just like negative all the time, and I know, all she talks about is, like negative stuff. I don't want to be around that anymore. House is cluttered, it doesn't feel like home. I don't like the energy there. So I stopped going to see her mum with her. I said, you can go and spend time with your mum, I just don't want to go. So after a while, she would go, look, family, relationship, I'd choose a relationship. I'll spend time with him. So she started to spend less time with the family and more time with me. So family became a void. So now we're both left with these empty hearts. We're both left with this big void. And this is what they call depression. Depression is when we've given up and abandoned everything that we love to live for. We've abandoned our value system. All the things that inspired us to get up in the morning, all of the things that inspired us about love, we've totally abandoned. So what happens is, he's resentful of her because she's given up everything that he loved about her. He's also resentful of her because he's given up everything for her that he loved about himself. She's pissed at him because he's given up everything she loved about him, and he's also made her give up everything she loved about herself. So you've got these two people that are resentful with each other, trying to work out in a relationship, and that are enmeshed in this relationship. Because now all of these things she's looking to him for, all of the things that she was getting from shopping, feeling sexy, going out with the girls, she's now looking to him for. So give me safety, give me love, give me attention, give me. He's looking to her for that stuff. So this mother-child or father-daughter, dynamic happens, and we look to each other and we start to become dependent on this relationship, and then that becomes repulsive. That's not what I fell in love with. I fell in love with that. So this empty hearts is that. So we separate, yeah? We finally go through so much pain. We try to work it out. We can't work it out. We're just not on the same page. We think, oh, well, I've obviously met the wrong person. This isn't the relationship for me. There's obviously the grass is greener on the other side. I need to go and find somebody else, yeah? So we abandon the relationship. We leave each other. And what's the first thing we do when we leave the relationship? We start to get our values back, yeah? So the first thing he does is he rings the boys and said, guys, guess what? I'm back on the town. Now, while we've got this empty heart, the other thing that happens is every time we're reminded of these things, yeah, while we haven't got them, while we're not living our values, every time we see them in our life or we think of them, we think the things that we used to do, these things poke us and prod us, yeah, they poke us in the heart. And they're like an arrow in the heart, yeah, so they poke and prod. Not being able to provide anymore, not having my freedom and independence anymore. They poke and prod and they hurt us, yeah? Because we know we're not doing what it is that we love. And so we try to mask that. So we got to feel better. Instead of feeling this pain and this, this pain of not doing what we love, we either start to comfort eat, we drink, we take drugs, we mask our problems. And this is where addictions come from. Because we're feeling this void rather than feel the void and the pain and the hurt and the powerlessness and the helplessness and the vulnerability. Rather than feel all of this, we try to mask the pain. So we start to put on weight, become overweight, we wear baggy clothes, we comfort eat, we do all kinds of stuff. So this is where the addictions come in. So the first thing we do is we try to get our values back. So he's working again, suddenly he's getting all his money and it's for himself. So he feels like, wow, I've got money again. I can provide for myself. So suddenly he's providing again, yeah? He goes back to the gym because he wants to look good again for the next person he met. So he starts to get himself back in shape. He's going to the gym, starts to feel better about himself, starting to feel, yeah, I'm fucking back. I'm loving this, yeah? Goes home, he prepares the nest for the next kill, as my old mentor used to say. So, new sheets on the bed, cleans the house, gets the whole place ready for the next kill. Sad, eh? So going to the gym also becomes a value. So he starts to just take all of his values back, yeah? He starts to go and have sex again. He has his own freedom and independence. So suddenly there's no one telling him what to do, what not to do. He hasn't got a parent in his life anymore. He becomes his own parent. So he gets his freedom and independence back. So basically, he takes back all of his values again, all the things that he loved about himself. She does exactly the same thing. First thing she does is ring the girls. They all come around. They watch a movie. They eat ice cream. They support her. They talk about what's going on for her and how all of her feelings. And, so they suddenly bond again. They take her out, they get her dressed up, so she goes and gets her hair done, her nails done, all the things she couldn't do before. She just starts to look good and feel sexy and go to the gym as well and maybe look after herself a bit better, provide for herself. So she goes grooming, yeah? So she takes back all of her values. What an amazing eraser. So she takes back all of her values and we take back all of our values. So suddenly we're alive again. We run into each other a few months later. We see each other maybe down the shops or at a park or at a function that, like a mutual friend might be having. And you see each other and you go, wow, hi, you look amazing. How's it going? Yeah, great. Who are you here with? I'm just here with the girls. Oh my God, say hi for me. Oh yeah, there's Barbara. Hi Barbara, wow, you've been going to the gym? Yeah, I've been working out, oh wow, you look amazing, by the way. You look really good. And she's like, thanks, so do you. You look good too. Yeah, I'm here with the guys and yeah, I've been having a good time back at work, earning money. Yeah, I'm feeling good going to the gym. So suddenly that attraction's back there and she's like, oh, what are you doing later? Should we hang out? Yeah, sure. So they hang out, they get to know each other, they start to fucking sleep with each other again, and then they abandon all their values again. And how many people know people in relationships where they do this? So they get together, they break apart, they get together, they break apart. And it's because we abandon ourselves in relationships, we abandon our values. So the key here, guys, the key is to never ever abandon your value system, because your value system is what they love about you in the first place. It's what you love about you in the first place. I go to the gym because if I want my partner to be attracted to me, I've got to be attracted to me. I've got to be attracted to myself if I want anyone else in my life to be attracted to me. I've got to love myself. That old cheesy statement, you've got to love yourself before anyone else can love you or before you can love anyone else. That's true, yeah? If I'm trying to give from an empty bucket all the time, like if I've got this leaky bucket, I'm trying to give people what I think they want, which is what I used to do, give them, love them in the way that they wanted to be loved, instead of just loving myself and filling my own bucket so that my bucket overflows and people feel this genuine love. You cannot give from an empty well, yeah? So the goal here is then to learn how to communicate in terms of your partner's values, not your own values. So I've got to make sure that my partner lives her values and never ever abandons her value system. Why would I want her to abandon her value system when other things that I fell in love with her for in the first place? But it's the opposite. We do the opposite. We try to get them to abandon their value systems and to choose us over that because we want to know that we're loved, yeah? Because we were missing that as kids from our traumatic experience as children, whatever was missing for us. So I communicate to her in terms of her value system and she communicates to me in terms of my value system. Suddenly we feel heard and understood and we want to do it. We feel inspired. So an example is I remember coming home from work one day. Back in the day we used to get paid cash in an envelope, yeah? I'd give my partner my cash, the envelope. She'd just, grab the envelope, go through, oh, is that all we got this week? And maybe if there was anything left, I might get $10 or $20, and I'd be resentful, like fucking working my ass off all this time and all I get is $10 or $20. And so it kind of was this resentment that would happen. And I remember my partner, I gave her my paycheck one day, came home, gave her my paycheck, just expecting, oh, is that all we got? And she just, before she even opened it, she grabbed me by the hand and she said, Dean, I just want to say thank you for this. And I went, what? And she gave me a hug and she said, I want to say thank you for you working your ass off for us. And, and I'm so grateful that you do this for us and that you provide for us and that you bring home this money for us. Now, goosebumps now just feeling it and thinking about it, remembering it. I was very suspicious at first. I was like, what have you done? Oh, yeah, what? So it's not enough now. She's like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm just really, really grateful. And I was like, have you crashed the car? What have you done? What do you want? Are you after something? She's like, I want you to know I'm super grateful for you working for us. Now, what do you think that did for me? Suddenly I felt, wow, acknowledged. I felt heard. I felt valued. I felt fucking important. I felt seen and all of that. So because of that, I wanted to do the same thing for her. Now, because family is important to her, I started to talk to her in terms of her values. So I remember saying to her, look, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get up early on Sunday morning. I'm going to take the kids for a walk so that you can never sleep in, because I know you do shitloads around the house and you never get time to yourself. You never get time to yourself. So I'm going to take the kids out for a walk. We go to the park or whatever. Now, that gave me really good time with the kids. I used to have an amazing time with the kids. We'd go out on our own and have fun, yeah? But it also gave her a chance to either, just to have a lazy Sunday morning, sleep in if she wanted, got up, shower, listen to music, dance, whatever she wanted to do. And then I said, what I'll do is then we'll go out and I'll take us all out for breakfast or brunch, and then we'll pop in and see your family and say hi to your mum and dad, or, like whoever you want to go and visit, maybe your sister and her boyfriend. So I'm starting to talk to her in terms of her values, and she's like, oh my God, this guy gets me. He sees me. He knows what's important for me. And then I would say, and then is it okay, honey, if I go for a ride on my motorbike afterwards? And she'd go, fuck yeah, of course, It's because I've already talked to her in terms of her values. Whereas in the past, I'll just go, I'm off, see you later, I'm going for a ride, it's important to me, which are my values. And she'd get pissed off and resentful. We've got things to do. What about family? What about the kids? And you're leaving me here with the... So it would always cause fights and negativity. So when I'm starting to talk to her in terms of her values, she feels valued and heard. And then she wants to do the same for me and vice versa. So we start to hold each other as important. We start to hold each other's values as important. What's important to her is important to me. And it's important that she never abandons that. So if she goes, honey, I'm not going to go out with the girls tonight because I want to spend time with you, I want to be with you. No, go out with the girls. I want you to go out with the girls because it's important that you spend time with the girls. Now, the insecure part of me might go, oh, I don't want you to go out because you might meet somebody else. If I'm treating her like a queen, like the queen that I know she is, I won't be insecure because I know there's no other guy that's going to treat her as well as I do. I know she's there because she fucking wants to be there and she loves me, sees me as her king. She sees me as a king, I see her as my queen. I don't need to be threatened by anybody else. Rarely, yeah? So the key is to always talk in terms of the other person's values so that they feel heard, valued and understood. Now, let me show you something else really cool. So when you've got two empty hearts, guys, and that's depression, yeah? You will never cure depression with antidepressants. Now, if you're on antidepressants, I'm not saying stop them. What I'm saying is they are helpful in some circumstances in life because they'll stop a person from spiraling down any further, but you will not cure depression with antidepressants or with any medication. Same with ADD and ADHD, I'll show you in a minute. The way you cure depression is you start to get your values back. Depression means you've abandoned everything that you used to love to live for in your life. So you're either trying to live somebody else's values, which is something we do, try to live our parents' values, or we try to live somebody who we think is having an amazing life. We try to live their values because it looks amazing, but it's not in line with our values. So if we abandon our own value system, we feel depressed. So the way to not feel depressed anymore is to start to get our values back. So start finding out what it is that you love to do in your life. What did you love to do as a child? And start to do that stuff. Dr. John DeMartini, I think it is, talks about like you cannot be depressed if you walk in sunlight. If you go out and walk, you're getting fresh air, you're getting sunlight. Sunlight is another cure for depression, yeah? So look at this. When a child turns up here, a child turns up here with their own value system. But what mum and dad tend to do is they impose their values and on top of the child. Go to school, get good grades, clean your room, do your homework, so they're imposing their values. Respect your elders, do as you're told. And then the kid feels like, oh, pressured, because they have their own value system. Everybody here turns up with their own value system because we have our own voids. So if a child has their own value system and they can't express their own value system, they start to oscillate and tick-tock and vibrate and bounce between highs and lows, so the positive and the negative in their life, and they go through extreme highs and lows, and then they start to experience what they call ADD or ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or attention hyperdeficit disorder, which means they have an attention deficit disorder in terms of somebody else's value system, but they don't have an attention deficit disorder in terms of their own value system. It's the same with us. So I can take a kid who's got ADD, sit him in front of a computer game, and he'll sit there for hours, totally focused, super focused, know all the different levels, know how to go through that game from fucking beginning to end, know all the different things all the way throughout it. He's super focused. There's no attention deficit disorder there. He's got an attention deficit disorder in terms of what his mum and dad might want him to do. Get outside, go and play with your friends, go and do this, go and do that, clean your room. He's got an attention deficit disorder there, but not in terms of his own values. So the key with your kids is to learn what their values are and communicate to them in terms of their values. So if his value is playing video games, then communicate to him in terms of video games. Honey, I'll tell you what, I'll let you play the video game, and people say, is this bribery? No, it's talking to them in terms of their values. If you keep your room clean, if you do your homework, you can spend fucking 2 hours on the game this afternoon, or I'll sit on the game and I'll play with you, because that's also what they want. Teach me how to play the game. Spend time with them in the game, in their value system. When you spend time with them in their value system, they feel like you know them. You get into, you're understanding them, They feel seen, heard, valued. They feel important to you. As opposed to go outside and, play with your friends. Imagine if Bill Gates' mum had said, get outside, play with your friends. Go out and play sports, stop sitting in front of the computer all day. Or maybe Tony Hawk's mum, get off that skateboard, go inside, do your homework, keep your room clean, So find out what your kids' values are and talk to them in terms of values. Inspire them in terms of their values. If they like going out with friends and meeting with friends, I'll tell you what, do your room, clean your room, do your homework. I used to do this with my kids. I'd say, tell you what, whenever you come and ask me for anything, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Is your room clean? Is your homework done? And are your chores done? And if the answer is yes to all of those, I'll take you to do whatever you want to do, as long as I've got the time. If you want to go out and be with your friends, if you want to take you to basketball courts, if you want to go out skate park, to the skating ramp, I'll take you there. But if you haven't done, I'll always ask you, if you haven't done one of those things, then the answer is always going to be no. So now what do you think the chances of them having their room clean, their homework done, and their chores done were? Usually really high. Now they tested me a couple of times to see if I would, if I was firm, if there was I was clear on my boundaries. But they totally kept their room clean after a while, because they knew before they come and ask me, they make sure those chores were done. So I'm talking to them in terms of their values, and they feel inspired to do that because they're inspired to go and live their own values. So always learn to communicate in terms of somebody else's values so they feel heard, valued, and understood. And then they'll do the same for us. Now, this works not only with intimate partners and with our kids, it works with our friends, it works with employees and employers. I mean, if you walk in for a job interview and you see, the person doing the interview has got a picture of his family on his desk, then family is really important to him, Or if he's got awards up, then being acknowledged and recognised is important to him. So you start to talk to him in terms of that. Oh my God, I see you got a son. How old's your son? He's like, oh my God, this person gets me, and he suddenly likes you a little bit more because you're talking to him in terms of his values. Cool. Now, I talk a lot. I talk fast. I love this stuff, guys. I love sharing this information. It's really cool. I remember the first time I heard this stuff with my old mentor, Mitchell J. Behan from MJB Seminars. Amazing guy. If you get a chance to go and see him. But it's like such valuable information, and I knew I was going to be sharing this. I knew the stuff that I was listening to was really important, and there's so much in this, guys. It might seem very simple, but there's so much in this, and I promise you, if you start to do this, you'll notice massive changes in your life. There's some other tricks and tools and strategies around communication that I can share with you. I'll probably put that into another video, but I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any questions, please reach out to lifetalk@gmail.com, so lifetorque@gmail.com. Send me an email, or you can visit my website, lifetalk.com.au. Have an amazing day, guys. Take care. Bye.